In this whiteboard, we're going to discuss the 7 sins of waste. The 7 sins of waste are a great way to have a discussion with stakeholders in your organisation because they all drive cost in an organisation, and on the counter, an effective management system will reduce the sins of waste to hopefully zero. An organisation that overproduces is often an organisation that is really flying on luck. It may know its external market, but that doesn't stop the times when the market changes and they're left with excess product. A good management system, especially around the leadership and the planning component, will help understand how sales and operational planning need to come together to control what is produced. Delay, whichever way you look at it, being postponing the commencement of production of a good or service, or maybe it's delay because planning wasn't ready. Delay, again, is a cost to an organisation or an opportunity cost for your customers. Transportation, it might seem simple, but if you can actually transport many items once instead of many items many times, you will save money. But to be able to do this, you require good planning and equilibrium across your production line. Overprocessing is simply when we exceed the requirements of a product or a service by adding to it. It could be an additional layer of paint. It could be something in engineering that we decide that we will add an extra safe working load to something. Not only is it excessive in terms of the cost of engineering, but it also adds right through the whole process, right through to the end of life of that particular service or good. A management system will help control that because of the control checkpoints and the assurance of the process itself. One obvious cost to an organisation is how much inventory is kept. It may be okay under circumstances to have excess inventory to account for a cyclone or an upturn in the market, but not making informed decisions around inventory can be very expensive, especially when items can become obsolete. One good measure for effective inventory is a measure called stock turns. Motion, as the name suggests, is actually moving between a good or a process on a production line and not understanding that moving from point A to point B to continue a process is a cost in itself. We should always work on the fact that motion should always be downstream and not return upstream, and it should actually be modelled around the shortest path to the next step. And a good management system will assist in that. Defects, as the name suggests, is when something goes wrong. A good management system will plan for defects up and earlier in the process, especially in the planning and the support areas of your management system. While Section 9 provides corrective and preventative action, that unfortunately is a post-event control, not pre-event assurance. A good management system will need to look at where are the critical to quality components of your production, being a service or a good, and will factor that in accordingly. This final summary slide exists to demonstrate that whilst there is a circle running around the inside of the square depicting the different sins of waste, it is what happens on the outside of the square in terms of understanding the context, how we address improvement, leadership, and of course performance or measurement that enable us to protect the internal of the square, which relates to the planning, the support, and the operations, which is very much a key area for cost and quality in any organisation. And it's often operation which is where we see the results of poor planning and poor support. But going around the outside of the square, we need all four other elements to help us strengthen the assurance of our management system so we do get the intended value for our stakeholders.